Oh, sorry. These things are addictive. Hold off on buying that smartphone or device for your kid or grandkid. A new study published in the Journal of Human Development and Capabilities finds that smartphone users ages 13 and under are at a higher risk of developing mental health issues, serious ones too, by the way. It also goes on to state that the problem is particularly among females, including suicidal thoughts, detachment from reality, poor emotional regulation, and diminished self-worth. Let's bring in a licensed psychologist, Dr. Renee Exelbert. Also, Tanya Jordan, she's the Chief Parent Officer of Bark Technologies and author of Parental Control, a guide to raising balanced kids in the digital era. So, I mean, I was joking a little bit, but you know what? Honestly, every adult I know is sitting there on their phones all day too. But Doc, I mean, how exactly does having unrestricted social media and internet access at such a young age affect the developing minds of kids?
Oh my goodness, there are so many sobering statistics about the deficits of social media. We have sextortion, low self-esteem, depression, anxiety, educational issues, fentanyl use, sex trafficking, so many things that we know are correlated with early social media usage. But the statistics really are sobering because right now, 47% of high school students acknowledge feeling lonely, 57% of adolescent girls report feeling lonely, and a quarter of them actually have gone on to formulate a suicide plan. And this is all correlated with social media. The Surgeon General earlier this year declared a loneliness epidemic. 70% of the demographic with the highest demographic is Gen Z. So 70% of Gen Z said that they feel lonely. And we also know that since the advent of social media, we've seen a 70% increase in depression. So the statistics are really, really sobering. And of course, as children are really, really young, they haven't developed their frontal lobe. They haven't developed coping mechanisms to deal with all the information that's coming at them. So this is really, really problematic and quite serious.
Yeah, and you know what? They're in their rooms. They're in the back of a car not talking to anybody. They're on social media, and they're not outside playing. They're not interacting. And a lot of them are just, disengaged, Tanya. And, what can parents do? And it's the hardest thing in this day and age for a parent to say, no, you can't have an iPhone when all your friends do.
100%. So many parents are struggling with not wanting their children to feel left out. But the good news is twofold. One is you actually do want them to be left out of the bullying, the graphic, violent, and sexual content, the misinformation and algorithmic rabbit holes. So you do want them to be left out, and they will be better for it. And the good news, part two, is that you can give them safer tech. You don't have to give them an iPhone. You can give them tech that allows them to call and text trusted family members, but doesn't give them access to social media or even browsers, so they can be connected and still protected.
Yeah, I joked with my daughter once. I had like a 2004 BlackBerry, and I'm like, here's gonna be your phone. She looked at me like it was the worst thing possible that could ever happen to her. I was joking, but seriously, I mean, this is the influencers and, everyone's successful and beautiful on Instagram and all this thing. You go on vacation, all you see kids doing is, this everywhere. Their self-esteem, their self-worth, Doc, how do we protect them from this, from the real downside of this?
It's so unfortunate. As I said, 25% of children are cyberbullied, and that number doubles for girls. We're also seeing, major neurological things happening because there's this fake dopamine that people get from social media. You get a like, and then you get this hit of dopamine, and then you go back and you want more. And when it's not there, your brain becomes restless and you become bored with the rest of life. And so there have been studies that show that children can't, even when they're trying to get an A in school, that means nothing in comparison to the highs, these artificial highs that they're getting from dopamine. But in terms of self-esteem, it's really, really challenging because this is the same age that children are forming their sense of self and their identity. And it's very difficult to do that within the confines of everybody else defining what is good by giving you likes or not.
Tanya, real quickly before we run out of time, what advice do you have parents who have already given their phones the smartphones to their kids, but they're realizing now that there might be some problems here.
Well, as someone who has been there and done that, it's not too late. Don't allow connected tech in the bedrooms or behind closed doors or overnight. At least let your children sleep and keep that tech in the common area of the home. And also look for parental controls that you can implement for free that are built into the tech, games, and apps that come with the tech that your children are using.
Tanya, good to have you. Dr. Exelbert, thanks again.
Thank you.